Actually showed you guys my trip to the rodeo a few weeks ago, and I wanted to tell you guys about a story that happened just a few days after that, and I'm just getting around to making a video about it, but it was such an interesting experience, I have to share it with you. So just a few days after my trip to the rodeo, my friend, the one who she and her husband had, they had a tent that I was invited to and got tickets into. They were participating in this thing called a wine garden at the rodeo, and it's essentially a tent where you get to try out different wines. Now that night when they were at the wine garden, I was asleep, and as I was sleeping, I had some really interesting dreams. Well, in this dream, I was walking down a street with my partner's mom, and there were a couple of gals that were there, and they were walking on the street too, and they had these weird jumpsuits. Kind of reminded me of like Orange is the New Black, you know, where they have jumpsuits in prison. And we had this feeling that these women were up to no good. And so we began to walk faster because we were in her neighborhood, in my partner's mom's neighborhood, and we began to walk faster towards her house because we wanted to get there before these women caught up with us. Well, they caught up with us and they tried to steal our cell phones and our money and our wallet. Now this is all happening in my dream, right? So very realistic. And so I handed over my cell phone and whatnot. My partner's mom, let's call her A. So A, she handed over her cell phone and she was pissed because she just got her cell phone. Actually, in reality, she just got her cell phone. So in the dream, she handed over her cell phone and she was completely livid. I saw her in the dream and I could tell that she was switching in emotion and she was getting pissed off. So then she took a look over at these women and she started to tell them off. And she said, you know, screw you, you stupid bitch. You took my stuff. You're stealing from me. As soon as she opened her mouth, they pointed their guns at her and began to shoot. Now, in the dream, they shot her twice. I tried to prevent her from being shot any more times, hopefully trying to, prevent it from being worse than it had to be. I got in front of her, in between her and these women shooting at her. Yeah, I got shot 6 times in the dream. And I just remember just like completely all these bullet holes going through me. And it was very physically stimulating because as the dream progressed, I mean, later on, I recovered. I didn't die in the dream. I didn't die from the gunshots, but I was telling my partner in the dream about being shot, and he was like, "Oh, you're just being dramatic, overly dramatic. You're fine. You'll get over it." And I'm like, "I have 6 bullet holes in me. Like, look at the scars." And they weren't even completely healed. And I was showing him my bullet holes, and he was like, "No, it's nothing. It's nothing real. Just don't worry about it. You'll get over it." So I was just like, how are you just going to dismiss what I'm going through so easily? This is real. This is a real event that happened to me. Then I woke up. So when I woke up, I could still feel the sensation of the bullet holes in my body. And it was so weird because I could feel it. I mean, I really could feel it. And I took a look over at my cell phone because I wanted to see what time it was. It took me a few moments because I still was in that dream state. So I thought it was real. I didn't know that I was dreaming. And once I snapped out of it, I grabbed my cell phone. I took a look at my text messages because I had seen that I had several text messages from a friend of mine. My friend, the one that was at the rodeo. Come to find out, there was a huge shooting event at the rodeo and people were going absolutely nuts. And she even texted me a picture of what was going on where she was at because she was like, "Hey, this is going on. They're yelling that there's a gunman on the premises. Everybody's taking cover. People are freaking out. What does it say in the news? What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And I got this later in the morning. Well, I got this early in the morning, like hours after this had happened. So I'm looking at this and I'm reading this and I'm like, "Oh my God, like what the hell? What's going on? What's going on?" So then I went ahead and took a look and she sent me a picture and I took a look at the picture. And this is the picture, as you can see, and I blurred out people's faces because they don't need to be on camera. But this is my friend, the one that's huddled in the section there. And so you can see that they kind of look crazy. They're huddled behind the bar of this wine garden and they were all just freaking out. Her husband's the one who took the picture of her. And so I was like, I didn't know what happened. I texted her right away. I was like, oh my God, are you guys okay? What's going on? I text her husband, nobody responding. I'm freaking out because I don't know what's happening. So I immediately get online and I start looking at seeing what the news says, and it just says, false alarm, it was a scare. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I just assumed they were asleep or whatever. But I was freaked out because I had just had a dream about being shot so many times and waking up feeling like I had been shot. And then my friend is texting me that there's a gunman on premises and everyone's freaking out and running around because they think they're getting shot. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think, it's not like I dream about being shot every day, honestly. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I had a dream that I was shot. Now, I did have a dream that I was stabbed, and I have had dreams where I was stabbed. And the last one was when the Orlando shooting happened. And if you haven't seen my Psychic Diaries entry about that, check it out because it's really interesting. But back to the story that I was telling you. So I was looking online, everything was fine. I wasn't worried anymore after that. But I really don't think it was just a coincidence. I think what happened was, because my friend and I, we share a psychic bond now because we're close like that now. I think she really, really wanted to reach out to me energetically and mentally, telepathically. I think her energy shot across the city and connected to my energy. And of course, I was in a dream state. I was sleeping, so I wasn't aware of this on a conscious level. But subconsciously, my brain took that information and began to utilize it and try to communicate that across to me in my dream state, which is why I think I switched over to a dream that I was being shot by these people. And so, and all the little pieces were there, be protecting the person that I care about, and it's a female, and she's older, and my friend is older, so she's, don't tell her that I said she's older, because she still thinks she's young. So anyways, but she represents the older person that I care about, and me trying to protect her, and these other people, like, shooting up the place and whatever. So I think that my dream was a telepathic interpretation of the energy that my being, that my mind was taking on the moment that she started to think about me and that she started to focus her intention towards me. And even when she sent the text messages. So I think that's what happened. And that happens to a lot of people where we receive telepathic communication from others, don't realize why it's happening. Have you ever had the experience where you're thinking about someone, just like randomly someone pops into your head and then a few moments later they call you? That's telepathic communication. It's not like you just suddenly began to think about them. It's that they had already thought about you before they actually started to do so. So whether they were thinking about calling you or whether they were thinking about emailing you or whatever, but the thought was sent out, the energy was sent out, and your energy, your mind picked up that information and began to utilize it in the form of a thought. And then there you have it. There's telepathic communication. This is why some people who are together, especially couples who are and mothers and their children, when they have such close bonds, even after they're not physically together, they can still pick up on each other's energy. I know with my ex, I had such an intense emotional relationship with him, and even to this day, I can still sometimes pick up on the energy whenever something's wrong in his life or something's not right. And of course, I'm not going to call him because I'm like, to hell with that. That part of my life is over. That chapter is closed. But I am still receptive to that energy because we shared that bond at some point in our lives. Ladies, be aware that if you start to have tons of dreams, or if you have this huge pull towards someone and you were in a relationship with them, doesn't mean that they're your soulmate. So stop asking whether they're your soulmate or not, because you can't get them on your mind, off your mind. It just means that you have a psychic bond that you've developed with this individual because you cared about them, they cared about you. And so consciously and unconsciously, they are sending waves of energy out specifically directed at you, and you are picking up on that and vice versa. And so you're going to be dreaming about this individual. You're going to be thinking about that person, even though, and it may coincide with an actual situation where you encounter that person. So it doesn't mean they're your soulmate, it just means that you have a psychic bond. So just get over that. This is the first time I've had that kind of experience where it was like literally live. It was like Facebook Live, like it happened in the moment. I wonder if you've had an experience like that. If you have, I would like to hear about it. So please mention it in the comments section below. If you can relate to this video, please give me a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe, because if you're not subscribed, then I can't continue to share my wonderful knowledge and information with you. All right, well, I look forward to our next video. Talk to you then.